talk louder.
All right, take it easy. Stop echoing. Anyway, I'm running for city council, and it's actually new to me because I've been civic leader of mine for, I don't know how long you've been president, or
10 years.
I've been 25 years president of Juniper Park Civic. They used to have term limits in the old days, but then when I looked behind me, there was nobody else in line to take over, so nobody wanted the job, and I think you guys faced that for a while. But I built the Juniper Park Civic into a very large civic. When I took it over, actually president in 1990, we had a 24-page magazine, and it went to like a couple hundred people. Right now it goes to 6,000 people, and it's 96 pages, 92-page magazine. And we found out that's the best way to communicate and unite the neighborhood. But we have issues in here, and we're not afraid to go after elected officials. Those who know me, I think elected officials, and I know that, they're public servants, they work for us. It's not the other way around. So we actually tell them what we want, and we make them actually, if they don't do what we want, we'll tell them that we don't, you're not doing what we want, and you're not actually working for us. You're working for a party, or you're working for yourself, or you're working to enhance your position. And that's what I think is happening. I've been, again, 30 years of doing this. I never wanted to be an elected official. I said, I don't want to get into that area. It's pretty bad. But I just see the way this district is going, the way the city is going. You can't get around the city anymore. You can't drive. You can't, they want us, by the way, de Blasio wants us out of the cars. He doesn't want us, he wants us to take public transportation. But you guys over here, like Middle Village, we don't have subways all over the place. We don't have trains right down the block. So I have to drive a mile or walk a mile to a subway where I live. Or take a bus that, some of the buses, they don't run that well. Or my wife takes an express bus to Manhattan, an hour and a half, and she has to pay for the privilege. And we're at a point here with the overdevelopment, and I blame Mayor Bloomberg. He overdeveloped Greenpoint, Williamsburg, upzoned Queens Boulevard. My daughter lives in Long Island City. Have you looked at Long Island City lately?
Yes.
You see what it's becoming? And you're wondering what's going on here. Why are we not getting around the city anymore? Well, this is what's happened. And I led the fight for the downzoning, as did Glendale. Brian was part of that. But Middle Village and Mascot, we formed the overdevelopment task force. We downzoned it. We started in 2004, 2005. We actually went house to house and logged every house in the neighborhood. And we had 75 volunteers. Middle Village did it, Mascot did it. We all got together because Department of City Planning couldn't do the work. So we actually led, because they said, we can't do the work, but if you get volunteers, we'll downzone your neighborhood. Little did we know, Bloomberg was making a deal to upzone areas around us, like Queens Boulevard. And so they threw us a bone. They said, all right, we're going to downzone. We finally did it, and it got through in 2008, and we actually did contextual zones. It's actually a very good plan, but there is little gaps here and there that we have to address, and it hasn't been addressed. And then Brian came and said, we want to do Glendale, and then City Planning called me and said, Bob, your plan, your Middle Village and Mascot plan, can you wait till Glendale comes aboard? We did. We waited like 6 months or so. You guys did it very quickly, and we all got to, and they all pushed it in one shot, and it was good. But again, around us is a problem. If you look at the neighborhoods around us, they're going up, and they're getting bigger, and there's high rises, and even some people, like the mayor, wants to build up our manufacturing zones or build on the railroad right-of-ways, high rise.
Like to know where they get the water from.
Yeah. So they want to build around us, and then we're going to be kind of isolated and not get around. So there's so many issues that we have to address in this city now, and I'm not a politician. Like I guess I'm becoming one. I'm looking like one, told how to dress and so forth. But it's not really comfortable for me. But I'm getting to understand. I know how to solve problems. And by the way, does anybody remember this flyer? 3 years ago, this week, that we form the coalition from Glendale and Middle Village to fight the homeless shelter down at Cooper. And we got together, all of us from the civics, and raised almost $100,000 and beat it back. What did our electeds do? What did they do?
Nothing.
Who said that? They really didn't. The civics did. And that's where I come from. Because I said, I'm not going to accept this. And just like I wasn't going to accept Maspeth's homeless shelter that they were putting at the Maspeth Holiday Inn. What did I do? I formed, again, we formed a coalition. We raised a lot of money. We filed a lawsuit. We actually made a coalition from around the city because the mayor was trying to isolate us in Maspeth and say, you guys are racist because you don't want homeless. I said, I didn't know the homeless were of one race. Homeless come in all colors, obviously, all ethnicities. So what's that about? So he tried to isolate us. It didn't work because then we took it to all the other neighborhoods of color too. And they didn't want the homeless shelter. Coney Island didn't want it. We aligned with them. Sunset Park. We went and protested all over the boroughs. We formed a coalition, then he changed. And he actually changed, and then we got the owner, we picketed his house, the owner of the hotel, went out to Long Island and went there 4 times. Stephen Banks, we went out to his house, the head of DHS, the commissioner. We picketed his house 4 times. We said, we're gonna protect our neighborhood. So what you have here is me, at least, and Brian knows me, I think everybody here knows me, I'm a fighter. And sometimes I get accused of being fighting too hard. But when it comes to our neighborhood and protecting it, you can't fight too hard. And just remember, this mayor looks like he might get elected. I'm hoping something, a miracle from God comes out and he doesn't get elected. Hope something happens. I wanted him to get indicted, but it didn't happen. But we're at a point here where, imagine this mayor as a lame duck, doing as he pleases. Before he was running again, he's always running and running. But imagine him the last 4 years. If he threw homeless shelters at us, and now there's a plan to close Rikers. I don't understand that at all. And does anybody know how big Rikers is? I'll send this around to you. This is what we're talking about. Rikers is 400 acres.
Neighborhoods.
10 jails, bakeries, laundromats, huge.
Why not put the court there?
Yeah, well, there is a smaller court. There is a court, but they should put more of the courts there. That's what I'm saying. Why close a facility that you have there? You already have them. I want, criminals on an island with a moat and alligators. I want them isolated. I don't want them in the neighborhoods. But some of elected officials want them in the neighborhoods or community jails. And the mayor certainly is talking about that. Now, if you have 10,000, almost 10,000 inmates or prisoners in Rikers, and the mayor wants to reduce it to 5,000. The Queen's DA's office, and I've spoken to them, I went to the debates on those, that's a very dangerous premise. 10,000 is really not enough on that. We should lock up more. What's happening, I talked, I'm public safety chair of the community board. I've been on the community board for 30 years. I talk to the cops. They get a guy for breaking into a house, he's out the next day. They get him again, he's out the next day. It's a revolving door. And this mayor doesn't want to lock people up. He wants to let them out. So we're getting to a point where we're going to keep this is going to keep happening. And I can't believe the cops are frustrated because they catch these guys, they're out. Incarceration rate, I'll just talk about that and then I think my time is up. People say, well, we're putting, the mayor and Mark Viverito, speaker, say, we put too many people away, we incarcerate too many people. Well, guess what? Compare us to other cities. Incarceration rate per 100,000 population. Philadelphia, 850 per 100,000. Los Angeles, 300, 200 something, whatever it is. Guess what New York is per 100,000? And all the other cities are like Detroit, they have like 300, 400, 500 per 100,000. We're 190. We're at the bottom. That means we don't incarcerate people compared to the other big cities. So what does that mean? They're coming out. And they want to cut down Rikers Island to 5,000, and our council member wants that too. And where are these guys going to go? They're going to go in our neighborhoods and commit more crime. So you'll see crime going up. Because the people at Rikers, and I spoke to the Queens DA a number of times, the people at Rikers are the ones that keep committing the crimes and keep going back. So and they don't even show up to court, most of them. So they have 6, 7, 80 warrants. 80 warrants, some of them. They didn't say show up to court. They didn't show up to court, and they just keep getting more warrants, and it's a vicious cycle. So if you talk to the Queens DA, and the Queens DA is dead set against closing Rikers, and my opponent says we can put them in the Queens House of Detention next to the courthouse near Borough Hall there. Well, that can fit. That's a great plan if they had all the facilities like Rikers Island has, like bakeries and all the other stuff, and if they could fit thousands, but they can only fit about 450, and they need a major renovation. And the neighborhood over there doesn't want them, because what happens when people come to see them, the inmates there, there's families come in and out, there's fights going on, there's a lot of activity, there's craziness. Anybody live near the precinct, the 104 precinct? Anybody here? Close? You ever go by the 104? You ever go by any precinct and see what it looks like? Yeah. Cars parked everywhere, there's always activity. You don't want to live near a precinct. You don't want to live near a precinct because it's crazy. They didn't plan these precincts, and they didn't plan for the size. A jail, my God, who would want to live near a jail? Kew Gardens, they're going nuts. They don't want them. Keep them on the island. But this is a land grab, folks. They want to grab that island for high-rise apartments, and that's what my opponent said. They want to develop it as a community. Do you want to build more?
No.
More high-rise apartments? Do we need more to get around this city? Do we need more apartments all over the place? Do we need 50-story? And do we need water views, penthouse views of this, the water views of look at that sheet look at the Rikers Island.
Yeah.
Look at the views over there. That's what they want. And they're going to victimize us. And can you imagine de Blasio, in the last 4 years, wanting to close Rikers? And even when he's gone, who else is going to come in there? We're going to be at their mercy. That's why I'm running. I'm fed up, and I'm running on 4 lines in November election, and what you'll get is a fighter. And somebody that's not going to, somebody that will stand up to the mayor, and is not going to take what he's giving us, because I've proven it. I helped form the coalition. I helped form Cures. We were on the founders, and I'm still on Cures. And that hotline goes to New York and Atlantic. What is that doing? New York and Atlantic is a rogue company. They just do as they please. If I'm council member, I'm not going to take that. I'm not going to take how they're treating us. We'll protest, we'll do whatever we have to do, and I've proven over the years that works. I get all the publicity, and I know this publicity works. And you can't do this for 30 years. And it's the only one I didn't do, by the way, because my campaign said, you can't do this, you got to go out campaigning. So I couldn't do this, my son did this. All right, because he's a graphic designer. But we have a tradition, because this is a labor of love. You can't fake love of neighborhood for 30 years and put out these. This was like a ball and chain around, my ankle for 30 years, doing this and putting these out. And it's, because you have to do it. It's like I couldn't go on vacation. I couldn't be with my family. I had to sit and work on this because we have such a great response from this, and it really pulls the neighborhood together. And communication is the way. Education is about. You tell people the history of the neighborhood. You tell them the issues. You read it, and you show them in a magazine that they can pick up and read and actually know about the history of their neighborhood, know about the surroundings. So it's a very, very important tool that I thought, and that's how I built up the civic. And that's how I protected Juniper Park when I took over, by the way, in 1990, was a drug park. It was filled with weeds. Kids were sleeping in the park. Glass everywhere, broken fences. Look at it now. Because I got 75 volunteers together, and we actually now it's grown, but we actually got the council person at the time, Tom Ogdenbenny, to reconstruct the park. So again, I don't want to keep going, but if you have any questions, I'll answer it afterwards, but I'm not doing this to be a career politician. I'm 65 years old. I don't need to be a career politician. I've been a college professor for 40 years. And that's why I was able to do civics, because as a college professor, I had some off days. I also did my own schedule. So I was able to give myself some days that I needed off to work on civic, and I balanced it. But they encourage that. The college actually encourages you to get involved in enablement. And I did. And that's who I am. So any questions, I'll take it at this time, but I know you told me to have a packed agenda. The SBS, I can't stand. I think that's ridiculous. And I think it's going to fail. And we'll address that, when and if I get elected. Thank you very much.